Coming up on today's show, we discuss the Jesus Shop and Adopt a Child. Join the City is a program highlighting people and organizations having an impact in our city. All too often, we hear about the problems and dysfunctions in our culture, but we are coming from a different approach as we take a look at the good things going on right here in our community. I'm Bethany Marshall, and you're about to see what God is doing in our city. We want to thank our program sponsors, Park Home, for their donation of furniture used in our studio, Taylor Design and Events for beautifully decorating our studio space, and our platinum sponsor, Harry's Construction, for their ongoing support of Join the City. As we continue revisiting our Christmas stories, we're going to hear from two different ministry outreaches that both primarily focus on Christmas for children in our community. Our first story comes from Community Worship Center in Tyrone, Pennsylvania. Troy Ferguson talks with Pastor Keith and his wife Julie Deal about the Jesus Shop.
Tell me, how did the Christmas shop, the idea for the Christmas shop, become about?
Yeah, so we have a lot of people in our area of need, and actually, so when we took over here about 5 years ago now, Jules, it'll be in January that we took over as lead pastors here at Community Worship Center, and we really felt like when we was talking to the Lord about missions work, where we would be most utilized at within God's kingdom, as far as what we felt we were called to do personally as this body, as a community here at Community Worship Center. And we really felt like the Lord just said to focus on your backyard. It was very, very clear and evident that that's what the Lord wanted us to do with our missions work, the majority of it. And so we do a couple different ones, but this Christmas event that we do, it's actually, we call it the Jesus Shop. Hashtag Jesus isn't a secret shop. And we really felt like we wanted to reach out in our community and show these people that Jesus loves them. You know, that's the whole point behind it, was just to reach out to people in need who may not be able to provide for their families in a Christmas type setting, or if you will, to have any extra to be able to do that. And we wanted to make sure we filled that void.
And when did this start?
Started 2 years ago. Started 2 years ago that this was birthed in my heart. I really felt like the Lord said that he wanted us to do that. And I tell you, one of the things that we do with this is we take referrals, because our heart actually was to reach people who not only are necessarily in great need or grave need, if that's a statement, I guess, or correct response, but we wanted to reach those families too that both mom and dad both work really hard. However, they're just not extra to be able to provide a Christmas for their children. And so we really wanted to reach those type of people. That was our heart in it. And I think we do really successful at that. We have our church community actually gives us names of people who may benefit from this outreach. And then we actually contact them and call them up and ask them if they want to be a part of it. And then the process goes from there, actually.
So how many families do you end up actually impacting?
So this year we did 23 families, which ended up being 73 children in total. So through the nomination process, we get a lot of different, some blended families, some single parent families, and in the end, when we added up our first year, we had, I believe, 37 families with 84 children. And it was a little bit of a different dynamic. We had a lot of single mothers our first time with infant babies. So this time we had less families, but the children ended up not being much lower, because we had a lot of 4 children families, 5 children families, 6 kids in a family. So that's a huge burden this time of year for people with that many children, especially with the pressures to meet certain expectations of Christmas, plus just their daily needs. So we were really happy with the nominations that came in, and to see those families come in and be able to be part of their Christmas.
Before the night, the big night, what happens on the journey to that night?
Yeah, so the first thing that we do is we actually call the families and we ask them for their Christmas list. We ask them, what are the things they need, but then we also ask them, what are the things that your kids are asking for Christmas? And we try to tailor the list to be really specific, not just general, clothes and toys. Like, we want to know what are these kids really into? Do they, really like the new, Shimmer and Shine dolls? Do they like Paw Patrol? Do they like Batman? And we get a pretty detailed list. And then we do a lot of online shopping. We try to take advantage of all the Black Friday sales, the Kohl's Cash, all those things. And we basically make lists up and we go out and we buy individually for every single kid. And we send people on big shopping trips to get the toys. And I think that we're actually just as excited to see all the gifts come together and the parents to come in and see that we got exactly what their kid would have wanted as probably they are. And that's really our intent, is that we want, when those kids open their gifts Sunday or Christmas morning, that they look and think, oh my gosh, my parents got me exactly what I asked Santa for. So we try to make it really specific, not just general. They need
or
clothes,
Santa
shoes.
brought exactly
Right,
what I was wanting.
Yeah.
Because one of our goals were too in this is, so leading up to, like she just said, we do all that shopping, but then the night when they all come in, it's all set up in here in our sanctuary, where each individual family has tables that, that's decorated really, really nice. And all their stuff is right there. Now, it's unwrapped when they come in to see it, so that they can go through and see what their children have. And the kids are downstairs doing their own program. They got a whole thing set up downstairs for them, where they're making crafts and they're opening gifts that we have already down there for them around our Christmas tree downstairs for the children's end of the program. And they have a great time down there. And while they're up here, the parents come in, they go through the shop, and all their stuff is bought and placed in order, and then they get to see it, and then we gift wrapped it for them. And then they actually get a stocking for each child, and then we have a stocking stuffer table where they get to go make their own stocking stuffer for their children. And then while their kids are downstairs, they take all the gifts out to their car, and then they drive them home, hide them, whatever the case may be, so that when the kids come out Christmas morning, it's a surprise to them, because one of the things that really, really spoke to my heart in this whole thing was the fact that, a kid could wake up Christmas morning and have nothing under the Christmas tree, which was really grieving in my heart and in my spirit, because I thought about all the kids and how they talk about the naughty and nice list and all those things, and how kids must feel to wake up and walk downstairs, and because they just don't have the ability to provide that for their children, they walk down and think, man, was I on the naughty list, or was I not loved, or whatever the case may be. We just wanted to be able to alleviate that from as many kids as we possibly could, because we know with our children, we want our kids to walk out and be so excited that there's all this stuff that Santa brought them, and so we wanted to be able to provide that for their children. And so that's our real heart behind it. Wasn't so that the church got any credit for it from any aspect at all.
So when I was here, I noticed at first you gather all the parents in your foyer. Talk about what goes on with that.
Yeah, so when they first come in, we welcome them, and we have a cookie bar and a hot chocolate bar and a milk bar, and they get They get to eat and drink, and then we actually share the gospel with them. The reason behind Christmas, what's the point of it? Because, I don't mind giving gifts to get an audience, but once I got the audience, I want to give them Jesus. And so when we get them in the doors, we allow them to come in, grab their snacks or whatever, and they sit down, and then we welcome them, and then obviously present the gospel to them, the reason behind Christmas, why we do what we are doing as well, to kind of explain to them, so they have a point of reference to say, why are these people actually doing this for us? And then we explain that Jesus came, and Scripture says in John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave, right? So we kind of talk about that and kind of walk through the Christmas story at the same time. So
With doing this prior to this and then this year, what have you found? How has this impacted your church? Numbers as well as coming together. How has this been an impact to your church?
Well, I think that what we found for our church is they get really excited to serve on this night, more than probably any of our other events, just to feel like they're coming beside other people in the community to take part in what is such a special day for people. Christmas is, to some, maybe the most exciting day of their entire year. And we look at that as an honor that they're allowing us to kind of come inside their home and take part in that morning. So the families, when they come in to serve, they're really excited. We have half the group will stay upstairs, and they actually get to wrap the gifts and help, put the gifts all together. The other group of volunteers actually get to do the activities with the kids. So they get to help the kids make ornaments. We also have a gift that the kids make and they wrap to give to someone. So they get to take a gift home that they get to give. So, and that's probably maybe something unique, that these kids might want to give something to their parents or their grandparents. And so we thought, wow, we should be able to give them that opportunity too. So, they get really excited. I think, to some, it might look like we're just blessing the people that come in, but we feel like here at the church that we actually are way more blessed, that we leave like we were the people that got the presents and we're the people that receive the blessing. Just to be able to see how happy the people are when they come in, and to see how much energy the kids have, and just the whole night, it's just so joyful and exciting. And so, as far as numbers, we've had some families come in that, from the Christmas shop that didn't know about it, especially because the whole night is not just for the parents, it's for the kids as well. And they get to see how, exciting it is for the kids to interact with each other, and they see friends from school and stuff like that. But I think more than that is just the excitement to serve and actually bless the community.
Yeah, and I think, this year, what we did different than in years past is we actually did take up an offering this year for the first time. We were doing it just out of our own missions fund, and we did that this year as well. However, and we raised it from local businesses too, because we get our local community all involved in this thing. We've had several great businesses come right alongside of us to give thousands of dollars towards this event. But we really wanted to include our whole community as a church, the whole body, in this thing. So we took up one offering for it, and they responded so very graciously. And so we had over half the budget met in one offering. And it was amazing to see that, and to hear the responses we got on social media the next, that evening and then the next day, was just really cool. People talking about how their cup was running over, and how great it was to be a part of a church that does reach out into the community, which actually kind of saddens me a little bit to know that that churches just operate more inside than out. And so anyway, that's what we found in our churches, that people just love being a part of that, more so than any other outreach that we do throughout the year is the Christmas one. So we really enjoy it.
Now, you had a pile of people here. I know it's a pile of volunteers. About how many people have you had that were here the night that people came and did everything?
I would say that we had a little under 50 volunteers that come, and we need a lot of hands to wrap the gifts. So the way we do the Christmas shop is there's a 6 o'clock time slot, a 7 o'clock, and an 8 o'clock. So we have all the families for the 6 o'clock laid out on the table, but after their gifts are wrapped and they're leaving, we have about 15 minutes to turn over. Then we take the 7 o'clock families out and spread them out. So we really depend on those people to not only wrap all the gifts, help them out to the car, but then also get the new gifts out and displayed just like the first group, so that they can see each kid what they got and, you know, everything we got for their family. So the more hands we have, especially for the wrapping gifts, the better. So I would say we probably had about 30, 35 in the sanctuary helping with, you know, the parents and the adults that come, and we probably had about 10, 15 that help do all the activities with the kids, because some of the kids we have are even under the age of 2. So we even have, you know, nursery care, because we really want the parents to be able to just come in and enjoy themselves, fill the stockings with the stuff they want for their kids, get the gifts into the car. You know, that's another reason we have the parents out in the foyer, is we keep the doors shut. So when they come in, we check the kids right away, and you know, they just think they're here for a fun family night, a Christmas outing, and that's what we want. We want them to think they were just here having fun, and you know, so yeah, so we have about 50
Kids
people.
have no idea.
No idea.
No idea, yeah.
No
So we
idea.
keep it completely concealed. So they come in, they just think, you know, they think they're having fun downstairs, and they think their parents are upstairs, you know, doing fun things or doing church things, whatever adults do at church, I'm sure. And we really, really make an effort to always keep, you know, the doors shut, so that is completely hidden from the children when they come.
Yeah, because when we open up our doors, you know, they walk in, and you know, we do it pretty well. I got to admit, you know, it's really, really nice. I mean, we don't, it's not thrown together at all. I mean, when they walk in, it's super nice. Like, they've got all their stuff laid out, folded really, really nice for each individual family, and just so they feel really, really special. So when they walk in, I mean, we had several people, they were blown away by just, you know, what all went into this event. You know, how much time we put in it and effort to make sure that it's really special for them that night. So.
Today's Platinum sponsor is Harry's Construction, whose motto is, "If you can dream it, we can create it." Recently opening Harry's Construction Kitchen and Bath Center, so you, the consumer, can see examples of the variety of services provided by the team at Harry's Construction. Thanks again to Harry Halk and the team for supporting Joy in the City.
Our second story highlights the Christmas program from Transformation Church, Adopt a Child. Martha Hollen, who has been running this for many years, talks about what it is and how it got started.
The Adopt a Child program started with Marcy Hoover, who was a teacher in our missionette program, and she saw a need among the children at Christmas time. We had quite a few children who you can tell by what they wear and so on that it's tough. And she decided that she would help them a little bit with Christmas. And so she started out, I believe it was 1991, if I'm not mistaken. It was either 1990 or 1991. And she started out with the program, and she did it the first year. But it's not only a thing for need. It's more of family. These kids are our family. And when you have family, you love them, and you give them something at Christmas. And that's essentially what we do. So the first thing we do is on Wednesday night, we have a couple ladies, and they measure all the kids. And I take those measurements, and I take the Sears catalog and match them up and find out what size the child is. And of course, we know their age by what group they're in. And when we create a stocking, and we put on the stocking, girl or boy, whichever, and we say the age and the size, and then we put it on the tree for the people to take, and then they go and buy an outfit of clothes and a toy appropriate for the child, and hopefully warm, casual clothes that the kids can get a lot of use out of. Then we have other stockings on that tree, and they say toy only, and again, they're for a boy or girl.
After receiving the donated items, a handful of people come together to deliver to many homes in our community. Martha tells us a little about that experience.
I have family groups. I have parents that bring their kids to take them to deliver. I have husband and wife teams. I have friends. I have different ones that go. We match them up and they go and we call the people. We have the numbers, so we call so we're sure that someone's home. Some people will stand at the door and take the gifts and say thank you, and that's the end of it. And that's fine. And other people will say, oh, come in, and then they'll say, is it all right if they open the gifts while you're here? And they want the children to see. And there's a lot of different experiences. We have to track down people lots of times because they moved last week, and then we have to see where they went. And Pastor Chris is really good at this. She keeps track of the kids, and she knows the children. She loves the children. She works with them all. And when we need any information, that's who we tap into because she's the gal on the job.
Since the early 90s, this ministry has consistently been growing and providing a wonderful Christmas for so many children. Martha tells us about this journey.
Well, we started out with 51, and now we're up to 150. So you figure out the increments there. A lot. It has grown because our groups have grown, and because, again, they stay. You see the same families year after year after year. Many, many times, because I get in a hurry making my list and stuff, I'll get a duplicate on my list, and I'll end up with 2 gifts for 1 kid. But God never makes a mistake, because there'll be some little kid that comes in that needs that exact same thing that I have. And it's just awesome sometimes to see how God works, how his hand is in everything and how he moves. It's just, it thrills me. There's nothing that I can say more than that, because we know that God is there in our lives. But every once in a while, he just kind of waves at you or hits you up on the side of the head and says, hey, don't you realize that this is my program, and it's for my children, and it's to show my love. And all of that is just what it's all about. There was one time, and it's been quite a few years ago, my husband and I went to a house to deliver gifts. And there was a grandmother there. And she answered the door, and the children were not home. And she had us come in, and I was taken back by the fact that there was virtually no furniture in the house. The house was very clean, but virtually bare. And she took the bags, and she was an elderly lady. She took the bags and she asked us to wait. And she went up the steps, and she said she was going to put the gifts in her closet. And she came back and she gave us a hug, and she said, at least they'll have something for Christmas. And it just broke my heart. But yet it warmed my heart at the same time, because I knew that we had met a need. And that's the kind of thing that stays with you over the years. One little girl, about 3 or 4 years old, she came running out, and she'll grab you by the leg. And so enthusiastic, so tickled, you know. That girl now is grown up. She's about 25, and she has children of her own. And again, the families stay with the church. You see them grow, but you see that core of children that this has made a major difference in their lives.
Since the early 90s, this ministry has consistently been growing and providing a wonderful Christmas for so many children. Martha tells us about this journey.
Well, the big thing is and everybody's busy at this time of year. You want people to come in on the 17th of December and wrap gifts. They're not too encouraged about that. But they do come. They do come. You never want this to be a negative. And when we are wrapping, like for a whole family, say we have 5 or 6 kids, I have a big tables in my big room there, and we'll lay all 6 gifts out on the table, because that's how they're going to be laid out in that home. And you never want this to be a negative thing. You want them all equal. Either they're all Pintos or they're all Cadillacs. You can't have one and the other. And that kind of thing. Sometimes we have to, we do have to supplement lots of things. When they take a stocking, I ask that they pray for these kids, because that's where all the answers are. You take a stocking and you go to the store and you buy a gift and whatever, and you're done. No, you're not done. If God has laid on your heart to take this stocking, and you want to do this as an outreach and as that, then pray for them. Pray that they have godly men and women around them. Pray that they're healthy. Pray that their minds work. Pray that they're protected, and that they learn what God would have them to learn, and that knowledge would be sealed with them. That's far more important than any gift you can give them. This little girl was molested, and she came to me. She was in my class, and I told her, I said, I don't know why things happen the way they do. I don't know why bad things happen. I can only tell you that Jesus will help you, and Jesus will be there. And when you get scared, she was in a situation where she had a lot of fear this was going to happen again, a lot of fear of different things. And I said to her, when you get afraid, just call on the name of Jesus, and he will help you. Ask for him to protect you. And I went home one day, and on my answering machine, she called me, and she said to me, Miss Martha, she said, I'm no longer afraid. She said, I did what you told me to do, and I called on the name of Jesus, and I'm all right. All of this is what life is about. It's not about the tinsel. It's not about the gifts. It's not about that. It's about relationships that you build with kids and the love that you have for these children.
If you know a person or organization having an impact in our city, we want to hear about it. You can contact us at 814-944-1948 or by email at stories@jointhecity.org. That's all the time we have today. Thank you for watching Join the City True Stories. Let me encourage you to watch other episodes of people and organizations having an impact in our community on ABC 23 at 5:30 a.m. and 12:30 p.m. every Sunday. You can also catch us each week on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. Until then, be encouraged because God is moving in our city.